guys, this video is probably not going to be the most encouraging video, but it's just going to be talking about a bit of a process the Lord's been taking me on. And you know, we all go through the valley and the mountain, so it's been a bit of a valley moment for me recently. It was incredible at the conference and seeing the Lord move, and it was really busy and incredible, absolutely. But then after that I crashed a bit and was a bit tired, and I needed to be at the foot of the Lord, and I said a dangerous prayer, basically. And I basically asked the Lord to search my heart if there's any wicked way in me, and I give him full access to every part of my heart to have his way with me. Because, you know, we're here to surrender and to be sanctified, and as he chips away at us and reshapes us, it is painful, you know. And so it's been a bit of a week of it like that for myself. Really, there's been some... basically what happened was, when I came to the Lord, I was like, I never want to get married, have children, I don't want to do any of that, you know. I just want to spend my time with the Lord. I want no distractions. And quite recently, a brother said to me, look, you might be operating out of fear here, because if anything's of the Lord, it's going to glorify the Lord and edify your walk, you know. So just, you know, have a little look at what's going on, if it's of love or of fear. And, you know, I was convicted there and then. I was like, yeah, I'm definitely operating out of fear. And it was like, I was using that as like a pretense to dealing with some trauma, actually. And I think it's like an autopilot old behavior trait, like a defense mechanism that was part of me. And well, when I asked the Lord to search my heart, that was no longer I could no longer use that as an excuse, right, to not face certain aspects of myself. I think I was afraid to even consider such things because of the trauma in the past of how badly I behaved in relationships. How badly I behaved. I was just like, I couldn't even recognize myself in certain points in relationships in the past. Really, it brought out the most ugly behavior in myself. I really behaved in the most disgusting behaviors. And this was like, and I didn't realize it, because I was doing it on autopilot, but I was using the Lord as a defense mechanism to allow the Lord in about a certain trauma, you know, if you get what I mean. I was saying, well, I don't want a distraction from the Lord, but actually I didn't want to acknowledge something within myself. That's the truth. And the Lord revealed this to me, and he revealed a lot of stuff, and it's been really, really painful, and it's been a process, you know. And so the enemy came on at me during this, and well, let me start at the beginning. So once I prayed that prayer, Lord, search my heart, I give you full access to all areas of myself, do whatever you need, your will be done. It was like a few days of just absolute brokenness, you know. And it wasn't even like I understood why. I had so much emotion coming up. It was crazy. And I know my defense mechanism in the past was not to show emotion, to bottle things up and to be like, just crack on, you know. That's kind of the British way as well, I think. And it's unhealthy, because I used to just not show how I felt about certain things as like a way to be strong, even though I was completely weak, you know. And so this pretense of like everything's okay, but it wasn't inside. And so I slowly crumbled with this mentality of just cracking on, you know. So basically, my mum never even saw me cry as a child, you know. I didn't show emotion, right? And so I just had, it was like the floodgates had opened, right? And I have no idea what's happening. I just know that I am broken. I'm constantly crying for days. I was so overwhelmed with, like, it was like trauma and stuff that was just coming to the surface, and I didn't understand. Well, anyway, a few days passed, and I just I'd obviously asked the Lord straight up, like, Lord, what is happening? Please, can you give me some understanding as to what's happening? And he let me experience that weeping and sorrow. I don't even know. I couldn't even identify really what it was, but just like this emotion coming out. He allowed that to happen for a few days. And then the enemy jumped on the back of this, of the Lord working in me, and started to condemn me with a load of stuff. And so the Lord had shown me that there was trauma of behaviors that I had done, that I had behaved like in the past, associated with partners, associated with a relationship, marriage, and that was why I had that defense up. And so I was running away from acknowledging these things because it was too painful. But I there and then could not, literally I could not run away from it happening. Everything was just exposed. I was so exposed. He could see right through me, and I know he can anyway, but there were certain things that I didn't even see from before, and I was exposed to myself seeing it, and it was just like, whoa. And I freaked out. I was like, I need to go and rent an Airbnb somewhere and stay somewhere for a couple of days. I was like looking at all these Airbnbs, like, I need to get out of here. And I realized I can't run away from God. Wherever I go, this is going to take place, and I need to trust him that this needs to happen. And then the enemy came on and started condemning me, but it's interesting how the Lord uses the enemy to do his work, right? So the enemy brought up into my remembrance many things, not exactly like events, but behavior traits, ugliness within my heart that I had contained through past trauma in relationships. And so the enemy was listing off all these things, really like going at me with it, and I was broken, and the Lord kept me there for a little while. He kept me there, and I thank him for that, because really in that place of feeling so small and so broken and such a sinner and just so unworthy, I realized that even though I didn't see a lot of this stuff, he did, and he still saved me. He still reached his arm down, and his mercy, it just showed me another level to his grace and his mercy. Like, I couldn't even deal with it, right? But he knew it all along, and he still saved me. His grace is, it's so unmerited. And when I was in that place, I just realized how great he is and how little I am, it humbled me, and it broke me. And then the Lord used that to build me back up again. And I remember just spending a lot of time with the Lord, saying, look, where I've come so far with you, Lord, is a miracle. There is no way I could ever change myself. There is no way I could ever fix myself, I was so broken before, and you restored me bit by bit by bit. And now there's this other side, there's more layers to my heart, which is more suppressed stuff that's now coming up, and I know that you're going to finish the work that you started in me, Lord, and I know I cannot do it from my own strength. And it really put into perspective just how little I was and how incapable I am from my own strength, and just how merciful he is and how great he is to want to even step in and intervene and start to restore us. Yeah, it's going to hurt, but the creator of the heavens and the earth responds to us, speaks to us, Jesus is incredible. And so there was the enemy bringing up things to my remembrance, so it was useful for me to list it all down, but I didn't allow condemnation to cover me. I could acknowledge what was of the enemy and what was of God, and really just allow what was happening to happen. And just saying to the Lord, like, okay, I can face these things, and I know that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I know you're going to finish what you started, so I'm no longer going to run away from anything. I give it to you, Lord. Bring it up to my remembrance. Do what you need to sanctify me, to change me, to have your way with me. So ultimately that I bring glory to you, Lord. And these things that came up, it was like, okay, I'm not condemned. You've brought them up to my remembrance. So now, Lord, whenever it happens, if these traits from the past come to the surface, or if that happens, then help me to acknowledge that and crucify it, And I know we're a new creature in Christ. So I know that I am a new creature in him, It's learning. It's a learning process, and sanctification is a lifelong process. And so, yeah, there might have been some really ugly things from the past. There were so many ugly things from the past, and he's changed so much of them already. So maybe there's some things that I'm still like, frightened to give to him because I don't trust him that he'll be able to help me with it. And I surrendered. And just, I just basked in his glory of who he was, and just, how incredible he is, how nothing is impossible for God, right? So why am I hiding anything, I was hiding it from myself, really. So, and then I spent a bit of time with him, and then I came downstairs, and it was this, in my spirit, it was, you are forgiven. And this weight lifted off my heart. You are forgiven. And I fell to my knees in that moment. And so he's just so good. He's so good to us. Even sometimes it might be painful, but he's a great physician, right? So he's going to do certain things that are maybe something we really don't want to do. I really didn't want to face some certain behavior traits that I had in the past. I had swept them under the carpet, and I was okay with that. But it's not how it works, He's going to seek all aspects of you and change everything in you, and that's okay. That's okay. We're alright to be vulnerable with God, and to trust him. And I learnt another level of surrender and trust, and his mercy and his grace and his forgiveness and the transforming power. Just many things were learnt from this. And I ended up being at the foot of the Lord, and everything was okay again because I was with him. Didn't matter about anything that I was going through, or anything from the past, or any of this. I'm just going with it, trusting in the Lord, and just always keeping my eye on him, and everything's alright then, And so, it's not the easiest walk, right? But there's real blessing in these times where we get broken down by the Lord. I found there's real great blessings in all the trials. It's crazy how the Lord uses all these things that we would from the outside see as negative or painful or bad, just bad, for the good. How he always uses it for the good. Even when the enemy attacks you, he's using that for the good. He's awesome. He is awesome. So I encourage you guys, like, if you're going through anything where stuff's coming up the surface, and just remember the Lord's renewing you. You need to get rid of the old to have the new with the Lord. And so we are a new creature in Christ, but we're also being transformed day by day, and it's it's a beautiful thing to know Jesus Christ, and to, even in all states, even when we're getting renewed and transformed, there's a painful process, but it's also a blessing, and you learn a lot from it, right? And so there's still so much more for me to process, but that's kind of where I've come so far in a week of this happening. At least now I can speak. I mean, before I was so broken, and he says he's close to those with a contrite spirit, and I really felt that during this time, that he was with me, and yeah, so I pray that you're all doing well and that you're running to Jesus every single day, and that you're in the Word, that you're always praying, and that you're obedient to the Lord regardless. And yeah, he's so good. He's so good. So God bless you guys, and I'll speak to you soon.